We really don't give a second thought to the cables behind our TVs.
Not until they fail, right? Or you just get a black screen.
Exactly. But when you're trying to push, a pristine 4K video signal across a massive room, maybe 100 feet or more, physics really starts to work against you.
It really does. I mean, standard copper cables, they're fine for short distances, but once you get past, say, 20 feet, electrical resistance just starts to kill the signal.
Which brings us to the hardware for today's deep dive. It's the Key Digital KD-AOCH131P.
Right.
It's a 131-foot HDMI cable that costs, and get this, almost $400.
Yeah, and before you balk at that price, we really have to look at how it solves that distance problem.
So how does it do it?
Well, it basically solves it by changing the medium completely. It's using what's called active optical cable technology.
Okay, so it's not just copper wire then.
Not for the important stuff. Think of it as a high-speed beta pipeline made of glass, just, disguised as a normal HDMI cable.
That's where the engineering gets really clever, isn't it? I saw it's actually a hybrid.
It is. So they're using fiber optics for all the heavy lifting, the high-speed video channels. But they've kept some copper wires in there for the, let's call it the low-speed communication.
The handshake signals and things like that.
Exactly. And that hybrid design is just crucial. Fiber doesn't care about electrical resistance. It's just shooting light down a glass tube.
So the 18 gigabits of bandwidth that leaves the source
arrives at the other end just as strong. That's what lets it do full 4K Ultra HD at 60 frames a second with no compression.
And we should probably touch on why that bandwidth is so important. The specs mention 4.4.4 chroma sampling. To a lot of people, that's just a bunch of numbers.
Right, but in the real world, that's the difference between, say, super crisp text on a computer monitor and that weird blurry color fringe you sometimes see.
So if you don't have the bandwidth, the device has to squish the color data down.
It has to compress it to fit it through the pipe. You lose detail. This cable makes sure you're seeing the raw, uncompressed image. It's essential for HDR10, Dolby Vision, all the good stuff.
I saw Key Digital has a name for their certification for this.
Yeah, they call it OpenEye technology. It's basically their guarantee of zero signal loss, no noise.
Okay, so beyond the picture, the physical construction stood out to me. The Plenum rating.
Oh, yeah. And that is a huge deal for safety and for building codes.
What does that actually mean?
Well, plenum is that airspace, above a drop ceiling, the space that circulates air for heating and AC.
Okay.
If there's a fire, a standard plastic cable will burn and pump toxic smoke right into that ventilation system. This one has a fire retardant jacket. It's designed to self-extinguish. In any commercial building, it's pretty much illegal to run a regular cable through that space.
Got it. The other thing that surprised me was the power. Active cables usually need their own power source, right? Some clunky USB adapter.
They do. It's a mess. But this one just grabs power directly from the HDMI port.
So no extra wall outlet needed behind the TV.
Exactly. It just sips enough juice from your Blu-ray player or whatever to run the optical converters. Much cleaner install.
And it seems pretty tough. I always get nervous pulling fiber through a wall.
Me too. But this thing is rated for, I think, 33 pounds of pull force on the cable itself and over 50 on the connector. It's built to be pulled through conduit.
But there is one catch you have to watch out for.
A big one.
Yeah.
It's directional.
Right. You can't just plug it in either way.
No, because the conversion chips are built into the heads. One end is labeled source and the other display. If you run it backwards inside a wall.
Oof. That'd be a very, very bad day.
A very expensive day of ripping out drywall.
And on the audio side, I'm assuming it's got all the bases covered?
Oh, absolutely. Dolby Atmos, DTS HD, audio return channel, everything.
So that brings us back to the price. $396. It's an investment.
It is. But you have to think about the cost of failure. You bury a cheap cable in the ceiling, and it dies in a year. The labor and repair costs will just dwarf the price of this. Plus, I think there's a discount code. And it has a 3-year warranty. You're buying infrastructure, not really an accessory.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just a cord. It's the bridge that makes sure your expensive 4K gear actually looks like 4K from 40 meters away.
It connects the dots without dropping a single pixel.
It really makes you wonder, though, about the future of what's inside our walls. As we push beyond 4K into 8K and whatever comes next, how much of the copper cabling that's hidden in buildings right now is already obsolete? Are we going to have to eventually rip all of it out for optical glass just to keep up?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think copper has pretty much hit its physical limit. The future is almost certainly optical.
Something to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.